Hello, this is Louis again, Louis Almeida. I'm the teacher and student of the ideas of Gurdjieff and Spinoza. Today I'm going to talk about identity. Uh, what do I mean by identity? Well, we all have an identity. Uh, what does this identity look like? Well, we identify with our car, we identify with our home or our apartment, we identify with our education or our profession. I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm a police officer, or I'm an FBI agent, or I'm a teacher or a student. And you might identify with what you own. I own or I have a beautiful car. You might identify with traveling. I travel all over the world. And other identities is your race, your color, or religion, or your belief system. I'm an agnostic or an atheist, or I'm a Baptist, a Christian, a rabbi, a Jew, whatever. So we have these identities that say we believe is who we are. The reality is that is what you have, what you acquired, and what you believe you are. But there's another identity that has to do with our true sense of self, an idea of self. Gurdjieff, if you ever read In Search of the Miraculous, and that's the only book I really recommend. All the other stuff, well, it's okay, but In Search of the Miraculous, written by Ouspensky, is the book I recommend. And you can look at, here it is. Yeah, here it is. In Search of the Miraculous by Ouspensky. He was a great student and recorded everything. And however, I don't think he understood really what he was talking about. But he was a great memory, had great memory, and he was a great recorder. He was a human recorder. Anyway, so Gurdjieff talks about the idea there's a great difference between essence and personality. He says, essence is that which is our own. What does he mean by that? Our own is everything that you understand, everything that you know by your effort to understand. Everything else is not your own, called personality, and our ego, personality, nature is that which is all the information we acquired is not our own. So ego, personality is that which is not our own. That we, however, we need an ego, we need a personality to survive. Without that, there's no, we could not survive society and to live in society. So you must be part of society, no question. You may not agree with everything. Excuse me. May not agree with everything, but yet you're part of society. And we're fortunate we're in a democratic society. And we have problems, no question. It's not fair. It's not equal, but still it's better than living in Iran or Iraq or other China. Anyway, we are fortunate to live here in the United States or in Europe, parts of Europe. Okay, now, what is identity? There's a new identity that my teacher describes about it in his chapter 7. There's a book called How to Solve Life's Problems. I've told you about this book before. My teacher originally created this book for his students, and I was one of his students for over 20 years during the early 70s. And I decided to publish it because it's excellent source of information of how to use ideas of Spinoza and Gurdjieff. How do they relate to human nature? All right. So let's take a look at chapter 7. Are you becoming aware that almost everything you do is based on responses of memory patterns to present problems, situations, circumstances, and the like? We are all programmed early in life with different patterns that become embedded in our memory banks. The result is almost all of our mature existence has been predetermined so that instead of living spontaneously in the now, we're responding mindlessly. That is, without consciousness to various external stimuli. But because we are unaware of these deeply rooted patterns in our memory, we are under the illusion that we make choices out of free will. Now, there's a lot of information there. And so you may want to listen to this again to grasp really what is communicated, because just by listening is not enough. One of my students used to, I would send a recording of our meetings. And by the way, I work individually or a small group of individuals, preferably individually, because there's no way just by listening and by reading that you're going to change anything. You have to find someone that you trust, that you can say, go over your nature. And I use a method called the factualizing process, the journaling process of looking at oneself and looking at your emotions. So let's take a look at this again. So to listen to this meeting over and go, and I was saying one of my students would listen to the recorded meeting that we have. I would send him a copy, and he would say that he was able to listen and grasp what I was saying, because in the meeting, I say so much. And just like you're listening to right now, I say a lot. So listen, pause, and listen again. And maybe it'll go through, because we have a wall called the wall of resistance. And all this wall, and in our wall, we are in behind this wall. It's our wall. We build it, and nobody can get in unless we allow them to. So we build this wall, and our wall is full of information. Behind the wall, we are full of information about ourselves, and information about how we believe, our attitudes, and our patterns of behavior, our thinking, and so on. So we won't reveal ourselves. And that's what we have to say, different personalities. When at work, when at school, when at home, when you're more truthful at home, but in the world out there, you can't show people how you really feel about them. You have to put on a smile. You have to pretend you're listening, and you're not. So who are you? What is your identity? What are you? We're going to explore a deeper aspect of human nature. And my teacher is touching some areas that may irritate you. So one of them is the idea that we are programmed early in life with different patterns that become embedded in our memory banks. These memory banks, we have a memory. Our brain is a source of memory. That's how we are able to learn how to walk, talk, and our taste buds have memories. We learn what we like, what we don't like, and so on. So we learn, and what we learn patterns of behavior. Since infancy, you learn. One of my other students was telling me about, he walks just like his father. He didn't realize it. Someone, you walk just like you walk weird. And he didn't understand, but he observed his father, and he walks just like his father. So we take on what we see and what we hear without understanding. And that's what I'm talking about. We must learn how to think and improve our understanding. So what these chapters I'm talking about, is how to understand your nature. So we are pre-programmed, we're preconditioned to behave a certain way. And what does that mean, to behave a certain way? Well, for instance, you react when someone cuts you off on the freeway. Automatically, we all do that. That's a certain way to be. You believe that person has free will and free choice, and they decide to cut you off. You saw them cut them off. You saw them as cutting you off, but you do not realize that they did not even see you. They're rushing out, and they missed their exit, and they realize they missed it, and they were trying to get over to the lane. They were able to exit the next exit. They go into the slower lane. So what happens? People are not prepared very well in life. Things happen, and so a good example is you at a store. You're at the grocery store, and you're going to buy something. You imagine you're going to go in and out because you're in a hurry, and someone in line is taking too long. They're having problems with the cash register or whatever, paying their bill, and you're there 5 minutes. Oh my God, what's going on here? And you're going into pain, hate, and anger. Why? Because your desires are not met. And that's why a part of my work is I help you learn how to journal. Journaling is getting a book and writing the events that trigger you. You must get in touch with your emotions, because without knowing your emotions, you'll never know yourself. But how do you look at your emotions? By writing them down and look at your reaction, the events that trigger your emotions. But let's go on. So we are programmed, we have patterns of behavior, we have beliefs and habits. Now, these are deep rooted things that are in us and hard and are difficult to remove. We don't want to remove them, we want to see them. And so let's read this again. We are programmed early in life with different patterns. Excuse me again. That become embedded in our memory banks. The result is almost all of our mature existence has been predetermined. It's hard to believe that our life has been predetermined according to our patterns of behavior. You always react to the same thing. You always, some of us cannot keep our mouth shut. I'm one of them. I have to, and from this work, I learned to a certain degree to keep my mouth shut. Meaning that you always want to give your opinion about something. You feel self-righteous. You know what you're doing is good, and you want everybody to follow what you believe. All right. So we have predetermined patterns of behavior, or you might be a fear of confrontation. Why would you be afraid of confrontation? Because you don't like emotional contact. You're afraid of emotional being out of control because you're highly intellectual. You're afraid of emotions because you expect everything should be on the dotted line. This being rational, cause and effect. You believe in cause and effect, and nobody should express emotions. That's not life. That's not real. The highly intellectual believe they're in control of life. And so they're reasonable. They're rational. And they see everything in black in terms of black and white. Where the emotional person is totally everywhere. So highly intellectuals are afraid of social gatherings because they don't know what to expect. And that's difficult for a highly intellectual person because they like to be in control. All right. So these are patterns of behavior that we want to begin to look at. Because why? Why? Because who are you? What are you? Are you just an automatic, biological, automatic, robotic thinking thing? Or passive thing, memorized thing? Or are you a dynamic, living from your understanding, powerful individual? So let's take a look at this. So without consciousness, we're responding mindlessly without consciousness to various external stimuli. So we are automatically triggered and we feel pain, hate, and anger automatically. And where is the free will in that? Let me ask you, if you believe in free will, and most of us do, we all do, can you change your fear into courage? Can you become a social butterfly? Or are you going to remain in fear of confrontation? Are you in touch with your emotions? Can you will yourself to stop feeling fear? Can you will yourself to be happy if you're depressed? Can you will yourself to go to the gym because you hate to work out? Can you will yourself, a good example of not having free will, your body is operating without you even considering what's going on. The electrical messages going out through your body, your blood is flowing, your body temperature is equalizing. If you do not drink water, you're not hydrated, you're going to have problems. So the body has requirements. The body needs nourishment. The best, if you can use good nourishment, the Mediterranean diet is a good good source of nutrition. You might be a vegan or vegetarian. That's good also. But you must know what you are taking in your body. Most of us just follow what we desire. Our taste buds tell us what to do. Our smell tells us what to do. I make this special drink every morning. I call it the green drink. Well, actually, it's orange color because it has a lot of carrots in it. It has apple, has celery, has cucumber, and carrots. And I mix that. I have it every morning. I give it to one of my nieces, She'd go, "Oh my God, that tastes terrible. How can you drink that?" I drink it because I know it's good for me. So if you only are guided by taste and sugar, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because you might be overweight. You might have a high blood pressure. You might have a heart condition. As you get older, when you're young, when I was young, I was eating uh, uh, hamburgers. I love Carl Jr. hamburgers. And the night before I go to bed, a hamburger and a malt and fries. And I was in my 30s and 40s. Okay, but then I developed problems. So now I'm more of a vegetarian, Mediterranean vegetarian, if there's such a thing. Anyway, so let's take a look at what can be done. When you begin dimly at first to recognize the great difference between your intelligence and your memory, you must know the difference between your intelligence and your memory. Again, the memory is important. You learn how to walk, talk, how to drive a car. You learn how to memorize school. You got your education. It's all memory. Very few, the school system does not ask you, do you understand what you read? No. Unless you go, you take a class in grammar or literature, and you're told, you read this book, now let's talk about the book. What are the ideas? Now that is really thinking, but most of us don't go into those areas or don't think. So we don't really understand what the intelligence is that I'm talking about. The real intelligence is the desire to understand. The real intelligence is an awakened state. It's a state of, basically, it's like a state of nirvana or enlightenment. When I was a boy, at the age of, I was about 6 or 7, I was learning my multiplications, and I could not understand those multiplications. I didn't understand how can 4 times 4 be 16? How is that possible? So it took me time and effort. Again, a key is effort. The effort to push the mind to solve a problem. We must apply effort to our thinking. To listen to what I'm talking about, it requires effort. And you'll find that you'll quickly turn me off. Why? Because that's a passive way to live. You're looking for pleasure instantly. And your pleasure is to give you something. My pleasure is coming to clear thinking. Yes, I have all these other pleasures: eating, driving, scenery, ocean, water, all these beautiful things. But the greatest pleasure I get is the improvement of my understanding. So when you begin dimly at first to recognize the great difference between your intelligence and your memory, your intelligence will slowly and gradually become activated. The intelligence becomes activated so that you will be able to begin responding to problems and circumstances by asking yourself real questions, by asking yourself, what do I think about this now? What do I think? Have you ever asked yourself, what do you think? Ask yourself, what do I think about this now? Today I had several problems with my computer and with, say, Sam's Club. I had to get some new labels to return items. I was having difficulty with my computer downloading the label and through the printer. And then there's another problem with I hired a tech on my website to work on problems, and he told me I had to go back to work. Asked me to work on this problem. I had to discover how to do it, and I realized I have a whole different attitude about problems. I said I can handle this, and I will apply my mind to apply myself to discover how to solve these problems. I have this old saying, and you may take it in yourself. I'm at the level where when problems come to me, whatever they are, I can handle them. If I don't have the immediate answer, I'll find the answer. I have the ability and the capacity to deal with problems as they come. Of course, they might be so overpowering, I need others for help. But the fact is, you must find help. You must look, and to find help, beginning Google and YouTube is a great source of information to solve these problems mechanically, intellectually. All right. Now, even cooking, sewing, whatever, Google and YouTube, excellent source of information. So by asking yourself, what do I think about this now? You are not merely responding from preset patterns. You will consult your memory and use it as a tool, and then make decisions based on the best thinking you can do now. Think. There was an old saying, think and grow rich. I'm changing that to think and you'll improve your understanding. And that is better than being rich. The improvement of your understanding is you're going to be your new identity. Again, the first birth is the ego nature. You need an ego nature to survive, but we're more than surviving. We want to learn how to live and enjoy life, enjoy your character, your nature, and love oneself. Love thyself. That's so precious. Because what do you love? You love your thinking. You love your understanding. So learn to apply yourself. And I'm going to end with that. Listen to this meeting several times and let me know what you think. You can also look at the bottom of this and you can see my website. Patreon is a source of over 50 videos on Patreon that will help you understand how to apply Gurdjieff and Spinoza's ideas into your nature. It's just not to listen, but it's a work process to work and study and to learn about yourself. Good luck in your effort. I'll see you next time.